Should British benefits be for British people? British benefits be for British people? That's what I want to discuss today. Thank you for watching. There's been a lot of talk around the Gorton and Denton by-election from opposition parties, particularly on the left, saying that Reform's policy of having British benefits for British people is somehow racist. I don't see the controversy personally, I really don't. When I wanted to travel to Australia as a child, I looked into it when I was a teenager, and I was like, why do I need a certain amount of savings before I can even go over? It's because they don't want you to claim benefits, they don't want you to be a sponge on the state. Most of the world operates like this. Most of the world understands that benefits for the country should be for people that are paid into the system. Now, me personally, I think it should be renamed. It shouldn't be called universal credit. That implies that it is a entitlement, and it's for everybody. Nothing could be further from the truth. It should be people that are paid into the system that get the benefits. Now, if you look at migrants, they've come over to do a particular job. Fair enough, that's fine. As soon as that's no longer the case and they become a dependent on the state, they should leave. It's as simple as that. That's my particular view on it. Comment if you think that's right. I certainly think it's right. Anyway, the Labour Party don't see it that way, and they've been attacking reform, and I've got some clips I want to show you, and then we'll go through them. So we're going to do that now.
To be honest, Madam Deputy Speaker, there is some brass neck talking about poverty from the party opposite in terms of what they do. Yep. So, but also there is some brass neck from our colleagues and friends in the Reform Party. I used to think at one point they were plastic Tories. Now, after the closure of the transfer window, I just think they're Tories in terms of what they do. But I have to say, representing a wonderful and a brilliant and a great diverse city, to see the naked racism in some of their amendment about British-born parents and denying hard-working families doing the best they can based on the birth of their parents is an affront to democracy and an affront to British values.
It's not an affront to democracy. This is very, very retarded take. If a government is elected and they have a policy to have benefits for British people only, that is not anti-democratic. It would be anti-democratic, for example, to be voted in on a platform of lowering migration and increasing it tenfold. That would be anti-democratic. What if Reform got in and they implemented a policy that the electorate voted for? That is the essence of democracy, so don't get it twisted. And the British values that you purport, alright? Those British values only came in about 15 years ago. They have no basis in history, and they have no basis in common law in the United Kingdom. Get your facts right. You're trying to protect your Blairite project, which is coming to an end, and it can't come a day too soon. So we'll continue.
I will happily give way.
The honourable gentleman for giving way is very generous with his time. Does he not agree with us that British people should be put first?
Who can disagree with that? British people should come first in their country. The people that shouldn't come first are the people that want handouts that weren't born here. If you look at the social housing in London, for example, just under 50% is to non-British people. This shouldn't be happening. If people can't afford to support themselves in our country, they go home. It's as simple as. This shouldn't be controversial.
I think my community is full of wonderful British people, people who stand up for British values.
So he thinks that you can become a British person if you stand up for British values. That's what makes you British. I'm British, alright? I don't believe in your British values. Does that make me non-British? Interested? I would like to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Comment below. Do you agree with him? Do you agree with me?
People who go out every single day and work to do the best for their children and the best for their community. And if you want to talk about, if you want to have a fight based on British values, bring it on.
Yeah, you're going to lose that. You're going to lose it substantively, so yes, bring it on.
Every day the people on this side of the House will defend British...
So we'll leave that one here. He sort of goes on to a bit more of a rant and a rave. He's a bit of a lunatic. Let's just get on to the next clip. This is Yusuf on GB News recently, given some facts and figures, and common sense in my opinion, so we'll continue.
What we have said, number one, and this could absolutely be done by primary legislation, you could end welfare payments for foreign nationals, right? That would save double-digit billions of pounds every year and would compound over the coming decades. Is that something the Labour government would do?
So we've absolutely said, as part of the upgrades to the immigration and asylum system, that we're absolutely going to overhaul who can and can't claim benefits.
So you're going to end welfare payments for foreign nationals?
Honestly, I'm not even going to answer that question with a yes or no, because I don't have the detail, and you will not find me giving an answer to a question I don't know the answer to.
We'll take that as a no.
So the first thing I want to say here is she goes on to national television without knowing her brief. Isn't that the Labour Party all over? It's never their fault, it's always somebody else's fault. And then you look at the legislation they passed through the Commons. Do you think that these MPs, these backbench Labour MPs, actually scrutinise the legislation? Or they're just whipped into shape by their party whips and told what to do, or they're going to be deselected at the next election? I think it's the latter. They've got nothing about them, they've got no lived experience, they don't run the budget of the country like a budget of a household. We can't afford it. We are skins. It's as simple as that. This isn't about racism, it's what we can afford and what we can't afford. And the added benefit is, all of these people, once the handouts stop, they self-deport. It's as simple as, everybody's a winner, baby.
No, that's a I don't know. No, Zia, it's a I don't know.
Okay. It's quite an interesting thing to not know, given... Do you know how much the British taxpayer currently spends on welfare for foreign nationals?
No, I don't.
Do you know how much they spend on welfare for universal credit for foreign nationals?
No, I don't, off the top of my head. And if you're trying to shame me by asking me to have this information right now, then...
I'll shame you. You are shameful. You should have this information. This is pretty basic stuff. You're a party of government, you may not be in government, you may just be an MP for the government. You should have this information to hand. If you're going on TV to debate opposition, and you're going on TV to actually sound credible, this is the bare minimum you should be doing, surely.
Going to have a conversation, a serious conversation.
But what's the answer? Because my viewers won't know either.
Well, the answer, the British government currently, and the Tories did this too, they hide the data, Michelle, in terms of welfare payments to foreign nationals. The one major exception to that is universal credit, where it is £8 billion this coming year alone that will be shelled out by people watching this programme who pay their taxes that goes directly to foreign nationals. That's just universal credit. That number is growing exponentially.
And do you know what position?
Evidence that Labour are even trying
Just
to
one
solve
second,
that
though.
problem.
But so that is a really broad sweeping brush to bash people over the head with. Do you know the personal circumstances?
Yes,
it is. Let me finish.
Anybody over the head
yes,
with anything.
You've just said this is the figure.
If British taxpayers pay their taxes, they go to work and they pay their taxes.
How do you know how many? How do you know?
Position to say that taxpayer money should only go if it's welfare.
Right, but how do you not know that those foreign nationals have not been over here working for years and years and their circumstances changed?
There's two types of people. Okay, foreign workers, you've got two types. You've got the net detractors, the fiscal drains, working class people from abroad, that generally speaking will be competing with working class people in the United Kingdom, suppressing our wages, taking our social housing, and causing social cohesion problems in some circumstances. That's the first category. These people, if they cannot afford to support themselves any longer, they leave. It's as simple as. You've got the second type of migrants, the high earners, consultant doctors, high-end tech jobs, tech bros. They will be on high-paid salaries, they will not be claiming benefits, they will be having money squirreled away in investments or shares and stocks. They will be able to pay for themselves. So there's two types. What she's conflating here is she's putting everybody into the same category, which we're told by the left usually, you cannot tar everybody with the same brush. You cannot say they're all the same. That's exactly what she's doing here for the sake of brevity, for the sake of simplicity, trying to hoodwink the good British people, and I'm not going to let her do that. I'm not going to let her do that to you. That's why I'm calling her BS out and calling it what it is. A sick and twisted joke. Anyway, we'll continue.
and then they needed to be in a position where they were supported for a period of time.
In this country, and they are currently requiring the British taxpayer to fund them, then I'm sorry, they have broken the contract that is implicit in an immigrant being in this country.
So if they lose their job through no fault of their own, you're saying they shouldn't be entitled to support to get back on their feet so they can continue contributing to this country?
Yep.
Completely correct, and as we previously said, they won't be in the country for long. They'll be leaving because they'll self-deport to somewhere where they will get benefits, or they can get another job somewhere else.
We are saying that it is totally unconscionable for bricklayers and nurses and people working in retail stores to go to work and pay their taxes so that foreign nationals can benefit from their welfare
right, okay,
payments.
so just
There's
addressing,
nothing about
okay.
that's acceptable.
All right,
and what
just
Labour are
addressing
doing
that.
instead, what your Chancellor is about to do is raise taxes on everybody whom I have just mentioned in order to continue to fund a food bank for the world.
No.
Completely agree with Zia here, completely agree. And I think this is Reform UK's policy to lift the benefit cap for British families only. Completely agree with that. In fact, non-British families shouldn't get benefits at all, in my view. Can't support yourself? Leave. You know where the door is, don't let it hit you on the way out. I think Advance UK have a similar policy as well. But yeah, generally speaking, the right is aligned on this currently. So we'll end this clip here, but Zia is completely correct. And finally, we had a phone in about this recently. This was, I think it was on Channel 5. Let's see what the leftist host says about it, shall we?
Spend so much on non-British people, which I'm totally against. You know, I want to see our own families, our own people get the help they need. And if that means that lifting this cap is going to bring children out of poverty, that cannot be a bad thing. How could that be a bad thing? You know, it's money going where it should be for our people.
Just to clarify, Amy, though, do you stand with Nigel Farage, then, that you would only like to see the cap lifted for British families?
Absolutely. I stand everything with Nigel Farage, and I cannot wait for him to be our next Prime Minister.
Nella was making this point, and I wonder what you think about it, is that it's a short-term price to pay, but in the long term, even if you've got non-British children here, if they're living in poverty, the cost to everybody is greater in the long run. If they have to use the NHS, if you have to have crisis services intervening, things like that. Isn't it a bit short-sighted? And I think the leader of the SNP in Scotland just called it outright racist.
Well, no, because your argument, sweetheart, honey, baby, sweetie, is predicated on them staying here. If they're not going to get the handouts, they leave, because that's why they're here. The gravy train ends and they leave. So they're not going to be a drain on the society. They're not going to be using the NHS. They're not going to be doing any of that. So it's not. Everybody's a winner.
I mean, for that, I can't really, you know, comment on that. I can just tell you what my opinion is.
Yes.
That I just think that our own children, that we have so much poverty, and I just want to see the money go to you know, where it should be for our own people.
Completely agree. She's obviously a Labour voter, a Green voter, or an SNP voter if you're in Scotland. This is what they think. Remember that mask off moment from about 15 years ago when Gordon Brown called a regular working class lady a bigot because she wanted less immigrants in the country? This is their mindset. They're out in the open about it now. They're never going to change that. The only thing we can do is vote them out. Anyway, we'll end this here. Yes, so this is a completely common sense policy from where I'm coming from. Labour haven't got a leg to stand on because they're fooling nobody. They have nothing left, and all they can do is cater to their different client classes, immigrants, middle class people like this show presenter here. That's all they've got. Brand people that don't think like they're racist, kick them out of the tent, exclude them from polite society, and then try to win another election, which isn't going to happen. Now, you let me know, do you think that British benefits and British social housing and any trappings or welfare in the British state should be for British people only? Do you think that non-British people should be able to use the NHS? Let me know. Comment below. Like and subscribe. Other opinions are valid. And I will see you in the next video. Have a good day.